Hey there, everyone. Hope you're doing very well. I wanted to get back with you here on a little update and some further information for the semester project that we're doing with newspapers. And one update right off the top is that given the library situation, I know that some of you will be struggling dealing um, with interlibrary loan and that sort of thing. So some of you may have been able to access interlibrary loan before all of the shutdown happened, and that's great. The library will be, you know, I'm sure would want to know what your plans are with, getting the materials back at some point. But I don't think you'd have to, I believe they're not worried too much about, interlibrary loan and getting, those back. A lot of that has just been essentially suspended for the moment. But so no worries there. If you haven't been able to get your interlibrary loans, I know I've talked to a couple folks that, um, either their library loans basically got stuck or, for any number of, places that it could be at this point. It's very possible that you might just not see those books this semester. So in those cases, we may just have to go with the best that you can do. Work on getting journal articles. All of the journal databases are still available. If you know of something like it was maybe a book chapter that you needed rather than just, if it was a certain section of a book, then a lot of times maybe a library could scan that to you. And so you might just ask the interlibrary loan folks about that in particular, and that might be another workaround on this. So if you're having trouble with that, you're more than welcome to contact me, and we can, work with the library on that. You can contact the interlibrary loan department directly and see what they have to say and what options that they may know of options that I don't. So just be proactive on it, jump on it here, and see what you can do. But today, as far as resources for the actual finding of articles and things like that, I want to show you a few options that could help along the way. Now, one issue that I've run into, and that's I've been kind of working on it this week. I've been emailing back and forth with the library, is that I'd anticipated the library access to the New York Times archives being there. And in the past they've done so, but somehow that subscription has lapsed and they won't be able to have that available to us. You can actually find it in the databases of the library, the listing. But when you click on it, it asks you to subscribe, and so I was trying to figure that out with them. So unfortunately, we won't have direct access through the library that way. The plus side is that as a student, you can get it quite cheaply. What you can do, and let me show you this first, and then I'll show you the subscription. But basically, you can do your entire project for $1 if you can do your searching in the span of a week. Basically, you can subscribe as a student, and we'll look at that in just a second. You can do a student subscription, and I believe, if I'm reading it correctly, that student subscription is $1 a week for full access to everything. So, I know a lot of people are struggling, financially right now, and if that's a problem, then please get in touch. I can talk to the dean, and we can see what we can do about access here, or it's possible that I could find something particular for you if you can't get access. But anyway, just talk to me if there are issues. But let me show you what we have here. So the New York Times archive goes back to 1851. That's when the newspaper started, and so if you have our topic that's before that, just bear with me. We'll look at a couple of other options here that go back a bit further, but I show New York Times first just because as far as ease of use, it is pretty great, pretty exceptional. Their user interface is much better than most academic resources that we tend to come across. So let me show you here what I mean. So it's Times Machine, timesmachine.newyorktimes.com. And you can click the search up here, and we'll get back to that in just one second. But I want to show you down here. These are some samples that they have available. And here's one, a lot of people, in our class topic look to the presidential assassination in 1865. So obviously this is a sample, so click continue. And so this is basically what it looks like. You can zoom in and out a little bit, and you can see the whole newspaper. You can see that the formatting and the look of it has gotten significantly better over time, but the content is still there. But the neat thing is you're not just zooming in and out. You can actually click on each of these columns. So we'll just click on the main one here, and it brings up the side here, and it says President Lincoln shot by assassin, and it has the main section here, the deed done at Ford's Theater last night. And so it's very readable. It's actually, you can highlight and copy and paste or things like that. But then the really neat thing is you can click continue reading as PDF, and it brings up another tab, and then you can just go through the entirety of it here, and you can actually download the PDF. So it's super impressive that you can just do any section in the newspaper this way, and you can see how they were reporting on it. You can kind of determine what their goals were in all the reporting. It's just a really impressive thing. And so this was a 8-page paper at the time, and you click by page. So quite impressive. So if we jump backwards to the search, that's just an example of kind of how a single page would work. And if you want to, you can also search. And once you're logged in, I think it'll work the same way. But it'll, what you could do is, let's say we wanted to, I'm going to use the Statue of Liberty as an example in all these, just because it works well for everybody. So Statue of Liberty, and then you can search from 1851 to 2002, but the Statue of Liberty was in October of 1886. So let's say 10/26 1886 to 10/31 1886. And so once you're signed in, this would bring up all those issues, and it would actually text search all of those newspapers going back that far. And so, it's not showing me the full pages here, but you can see the titles of the articles. And so it'll take you directly to the article. It's really amazing that you can do this. Extremely useful. And that's just in a short range there of days. And so you can just see how the New York Times was reporting on that one particular topic. Now, if your topic didn't have a specific word associated with it, like Statue of Liberty is very specific. If you're just looking for reporting on a particular crime that happened or something like that, and you just needed to look through for a date range, then you might just need to, in searching, I believe there's a browse function. I'd have to look at it a bit further, but basically you just browse to those, to that date range, and then just look through the newspaper. You'll be, if you've narrowed it down to a certain date, then you would have to look through the, the front page, second page, third page, and probably find what you're looking for in those, those pages, and just kind of scan the newspapers themselves. Now, if your topic, you think it wasn't covered by the New York Times, or if you are outside of the date range, so maybe pre-1851, then some of these other resources may help here. So this is from the Library of Congress, chroniclingamerica.loc.gov. This is the Library of Congress's search and how they have categorized newspapers over time. So you can do a couple of types of searches. You could, I'm going to use the Statue of Liberty again just because it makes it easy. So a simple search here, I'll go New York. Some other states would probably be reporting on it, but New York would obviously be of particular concern. So I'm going to scroll to 1886. So this is a simple search. Again, the more advanced search, you can actually dial it in by date, but I'm just going to pull this up here. I've already kind of searched it just to see if how it worked. And this is free. Oh, that didn't pull what I was thinking. There we go. I just typed, maybe Statue of Liberty wasn't a phrase that they were using at that time. I'm not sure. So here's the New York Herald, volume, let's say October 16, 1866. And so with the text search, it's useful because then you can see if the particular, see, I'm using the zoom or the scroll function on my mouse here, and it's bringing up these areas, and then so you can see what they're talking about with that keyword or anything like that. So that's extremely useful, and it works quite smoothly, and you can see where on the newspaper you are in the top corner here. So let me scroll back briefly. You can also come over here to advanced search, and it breaks it down a bit further, which is maybe even more useful in the case that we're doing here. So you can search by state if you want to, limit by state. You can go to a specific newspaper if you have that information, and I would also recommend using date range if you know, plus or minus a few days on your search here. And you can enter your search terms here and then do a search, and that can be really, really fruitful and actually narrow down better, because then you won't have to fight with things that you probably won't be using if it was from December or something when you're actually looking for October. So that's the Library of Congress. And this one is a bit more, scroll back up. This is the Google News Archive. So this one is a little more, I won't say difficult to use, but just not as where you can refine it down like this. You just kind of have to take a shot and see if it'll work. But there are a lot of different newspapers in here, and so there's actually so many that it can be a bit overwhelming. And so it has the basic Google type search here, and then you can search archive, and I found it difficult to narrow down, but one way to do it would be to know if you knew of the newspaper, like if it was a historical newspaper for Houston from the 1800s or something like that, then you can see if that newspaper is available in here, and then go to the newspaper itself and then find those issues. So you can find all sorts that can be quite useful. So here's the Evening Telegraph from January 3rd, 1881 to December 9th, 1906, and it's got 6,000 issues. And so there's just tons and tons and tons here. Sometimes you will see some missing, and so there's, in this case, they've got 5 of 303 issues that year. So they may not have all of them, but it might work for you. And in that case, the text search function might help the most, rather than reading the page. So it depends on which way you're going to be looking at it. And also Texas specific or other state specific. Here we have the Texas Digital Newspaper Program. This collection is available, and you can search within it, but every other states might have those as well. So you might look towards just typing in their state and then digital newspaper, and you might find it that way. So if you have specific questions on your topic, feel free to check in with me, and I'm always glad to help, and hope you're doing well. Catch you later. Bye-bye.